Hello everyone, I'm Sharpeter43 once again, bringing you all week 9 of the NGDL. Today we're going to be facing Use in the PC Quilava Azulgrana. This is a coach that was actually supposed to face last season of the NGDL, but he was unavailable at the time, and unfortunately I had to take a forfeit win, which is not my most favorite way to get a win, in all honesty, especially in the draft league, because in a draft league I like to prove that I can definitely get my own wins by beating the opponents rather than just taking the wins just because they can't battle and whatnot. So, but this season we are gonna actually face him, and I actually want to see how good he is as a battler, because I actually have seen him give the snack quite a run for his nacho gold, just given the amount of times I've seen him beat him or something. He always comes off as formidable in every battle that I see him against the snack, so I mean, this guy is definitely not a slouch. Not to mention his draft is just as scary as just about the other coaches that I've battled so far. Did I tell you that my draft is actually really terrible this time around, because of the fact that everything that every coach that I face has something for my team. Even the weakest of Pokemon, like Bronzong for example, has some painful things, such as freaking coverage for my Pokemon every time. So yeah, but enough of all that. This is gonna be the battle against Use once again. The team that I brought, it's gonna be centered somewhat around Pangoro and Dragonite, just because of the fact that these two are like probably my biggest wall breakers on my team. And if you look at Use's draft, he has crazy stuff like Cresselia and Suicune. Do you have any idea how annoying it is to deal with those two combined? It's a pain in the rear end, and since not a whole lot on my team can just one-shot these two mons, it's gonna give me a rough time. But I did bring some stuff that'll actually help me like deal with his team a little bit, but even then I still have to play very carefully, because you have no idea how many of my opponents in the draft league have freaking gotten clutch wins because of the fact that I just make one slight mistake, because that's how delicate my team is, it seems. But anyways, here we go. I'm gonna lead off with Cofagrigus. He's gonna lead off with Iniesta, which is the Excadrill. So this tells me that he probably wants to go for the rocks, so I was kind of hoping that he'll switch out, thinking I want to go for Will-O-Wisp, and if he gets his rocks up, he'll probably get Will-O-Wisp. But fun fact, I actually don't carry Will-O-Wisp on this Cofagrigus this time around. I actually carry Trick Room, and I also carry Toxic on this Cofagrigus, because what I wanted to do here was actually get Cofagrigus to switch into something that wasn't this what's it called, the Charizard. Well, actually the Charizard would have been nice, because after the Trick Room I could have Toxic it. That was kind of the plan when I made this team. But he goes into Suicune, which is fine as well. Although I know these things can typically rest off the Toxic off, so... But what I wanted to do here was just pressure it even further, which is why I went for the Toxic on this thing anyways. Seeing how this thing goes for Toxic itself kind of gives me the impression that it doesn't have a lot for me, and if anything it could be an offensive Suicune, but I didn't want to take my chances, honestly. So what I do here is hard switch into Pangoro after getting the Toxic off on the Suicune. Now what he's going to do here is switch out into Iniesta again, which is the Muck, and I'm going to switch into Pangoro. This was a risky play, because he could have just went straight for the Skull just to get some damage or something, but he didn't do that. Now here, because I got a good matchup against the Muck, because this Pangoro is actually a Choice Bandit one this time around, I am actually going to get a free Hammer Arm here. And what does he decide to send in? This annoying ass Suicune, and look how much damage this freaking Hammer Arm does. This is a Choice Bandit Iron Fist stab boosted Iron Fist from a Pangoro. That's actually really massive damage right there. This is exactly what I wanted this Pangoro to do, break these walls into pieces, because I really did not want to deal with this thing being an annoying wall that can just wall the hell out of me. So yeah, but anyways, here I decided to switch into Healer on the off chance he tries to now go for Scald. If not Rest, I'd be able to pressure it nonetheless, because I'd be able to get Thunderbolts off. But he ends up actually switching yet again into Cresselia, and this made me want to switch into Pangoro on the off chance he wants to go for Thunder Wave. Well, not Thunder Wave, Toxic. Or even Substitute, which would scare me as well, which is why I wanted to switch into this thing to prevent it from getting anything setting up. Instead, he actually goes into Muck yet again on another double switch. Like, there's been so many double switches in this battle so far, it's actually kind of crazy. But he goes back into the Suicune, and I just get another free Hammer Arm off, and I actually get to take out one of his annoying ass walls, which is this Suicune. So that's actually really good for me, because now I can actually be more relaxed and not have to worry about getting walled out to death. He does have this Charizard though, which was one of the mons I was afraid he'd send in, but I definitely anticipated it. So what I did right here was hard switch into Heliolisk. This was unfortunately a risky play that I had to make because I was anticipating the Charizard X, It is not this time around. It's still actually the Charizard Y, which is kind of unfortunate because I actually thought he would actually try to bring it this time around, considering the fact that he's been using it in most of the other previous weeks. So, but nope, he still sticks to his gun and uses Charizard Y. Consequently, he's gonna Fire Blast and not miss. It does break me down to my Focus Sash, which was kind of for the Charizard X more so than the Charizard Y. And at the time, I kind of forgot that this thing, because of the Dry Skin ability, it gets affected by the sun. So this Sash kind of was pointless in the fact that the Charizard Y came in and just broke the Sash via the sun. But here I take advantage of sending in Dragonite since it's at full HP and no rocks are up in the field yet. And this allows me to get a free Dragon Dance off. He ends up having Hidden Power Ice, which does quite an amount despite the multi-scale, which is kind of crazy. And then here's where I decide to fire off a Devastating Drake, because yeah, he doesn't have any fairy types thankfully, so I get to just freely go for this. Even if he goes in the Excadrill, it's still gonna do a huge number on this on anything he has on his team basically, thanks to the fact that he has no fairy types on his team, which is really, really good for me. Thankfully, he actually goes straight into Cresselia, which is definitely fine with me, because even if I don't KO this thing, he switched it in, so it's not like he's gonna go for Moonblast right after I go for this or anything. And as you can see, it does not KO, unfortunately, because that's kind of what I expected on these freaking walls, such as Suicune and Cresselia. They never get one-shotted. But I definitely weakened it enough so that I can just take it out. And as you can see, it survives. I finished it off with E-Speed. The reason why I went for E-Speed was because I kind of got paranoid on I kind of felt like the Cresselia was gonna randomly outspeed me, but that wasn't the case. So, but I just went for it just to be safe. Oh yeah, and not to mention I did not want to lock myself into Outrage. That was probably the biggest reason, actually, now that I think about it. But yeah, here he's gonna go into Excadrill, probably trying to scare me into thinking that he's probably Scarfed and threatening me with Rock Slide. But I don't buy it, and I just go for another Earthquake. It turns out to be Sashed, and instead of having Rock Slide, he actually just goes for the Iron Hit, which allows me to survive. And here's where I decided E-Speed on the off chance that I don't know. Again, I was just paranoid. I just didn't feel comfortable just going for another Earthquake. Not to mention, he probably could have switched into Charizard Y if he predicted me to go for another Earthquake anyway, so yeah. But here comes this Muck. Now, because he sent it in, something tells me that he wants to go for the Shadow Snake, but this switch into Pangoro was nonetheless risky because he could have maybe gone for Knockoff or even Poison Jab, which would have done a number to my Pangoro. But thankfully, he actually did go for Shadow Sneak, and this allows me to get yet again another freaking Hammer Arm, which does one-shot this Muck, which is really, really excellent, because Muck was also one of those Pokemon that almost never die, despite it being offensive. It's basically a bulky offensive type of mon, and seeing Pangoro just destroy it feels really, really good, not gonna lie. But here comes this Charizard Y. Now, this Charizard Y actually proved to be a complete pain in the rear end, because... Okay, so first of all, I have no switch in, so unfortunately I have to let Pangoro go, and if he doesn't have Flamethrower and has Fire Blast, I had to just hope he misses. He does not, and just manages to take out my Pangoro one shot. Now here I have to send in my weakened Dragonite. I'm actually super glad I preserved this thing, because this allows me to get some free chip via E-Speed with this thing. Unfortunately though, this is going to allow him to take my Dragonite out as well, which sucks because I can't keep switching around forever because of the fact that this thing right now has the sun up and nothing on my team takes anything on switching very, very well. Here I decided to send in Sharpedo and decided, yeah, I can definitely protect, because even if he predicts me and goes for Dragon Dance, I still outspeed this thing at +1 because I'm Jolly this time around as opposed to Adamant. But unfortunately, this guy actually crazily enough has freaking Tailwind, which actually gives him +2 speed as opposed to +1. And with that, I'm definitely not able to outspeed Charizard Y. So instead of staying in and being crazy, I just switch into Cradily. Anticipating maybe a Solar Beam. If he predicts me and goes for Fire Blast, good play on his part, but thankfully he does go for Solar Beam. And this is going to do quite an amount on my Cradily, and that's only because unfortunately this one is not a especially defensive Cradily. I actually made it physically defensive mostly because I was afraid he'd bring Excadrill in for Cradily, but that never really happened. So yeah, I lose Cradily here to a Fire Blast now because he did not miss the Fire Blast yet again, which was really, really annoying. So now here I send in Sharpedo because I could protect and stall out the Tailwind. In fact, I think it was here where I realized that it was one turn of Tailwind left, and after protecting, the Tailwind would be gone and he cannot set it up again. So, and I'll be at +1 by the time the Tailwind is gone, which was really what I wanted here. So thankfully he did not switch into Raichu here, because I would have been put in another 50-50 where I had to risk protecting either for expecting it to be Scarf or just the Z move basically on the Raichu, which is not what I wanted. So here I Mega Evolve. This was actually a misplay because I didn't even realize that the sun was gone, and I could have so gone for Liquidation, which was a move I had on the Sharpedo. This consequently ends up having me miss out on another late game Sharpedo sweep, because this Raichu here turned out to actually be Choice Scarf as well. I was honestly expecting it to be that Stoke Silver Surfer, Spark Surfer, whatever the hell it's called, against me basically for my Sharpedo, on the off chance I try to protect again, but nope. It was actually a freaking Scarf one again, because I think Fulham last season in the NGDL actually used a Scarf Raichu as well. So that's kind of crazy. Here I send in Cofagrigus just to hope that Hex can actually two-shot, because if not I lose, because I'm toxic and the Thunderbolt can do a lot of damage. I could have taken the Thunderbolts a lot better than this, but because he got a crit, I was very, very close to just losing Cofagrigus right here. Yes, I say that because this Thunderbolt that this Raichu goes for right now is actually not going to be enough to KO me yet. I actually survived with 1 HP, and I'm actually glad I did, because honestly, after he got the crit on the Cofagrigus, I was so just being like, oh my god, did he just narrowly clutch this freaking win over me? Is he actually gonna get the Alcarrera against me? Hell no. Thankfully not. I almost lost that shit, so I was like, holy cranberries. But thankfully, Cofagrigus once again saving my rear end there, which is really, really good. I think this is like the second time Cofagrigus actually comes out clutch, because if you guys haven't noticed, Cofagrigus also came out clutch in one battle that I had against Ciel Luna way back in Sun and Moon. You guys can check that out. I'll link it in the description so you guys can check it out, see how it was. But yeah, that's gonna be week 9 for the NGDL. We actually do win narrowly, which is kind of lame, because I mean that's not gonna really help me raise my score very, very much. But what can you do? Either way, that was really, really, really good battle. It was actually one of the closest. Actually, this one was probably the closest battle I've ever had, because if I did not survive, well, actually, if I well, if the turn were to end, Cofagrigus would have gone down thanks to the poison, and I survived with 1 HP, which is actually really, really crazy. But anyways, good game once again to use, and thank you all for watching week 9 of the NGDL. Stay tuned for week 10 whenever that comes, and I guess that's it for me. Yeah, good game once again to use. I'll leave his channel in the description below, because he's also a YouTuber, so yeah, you guys can check his site as well. But for now, I'm gonna be heading out. Thank you all for watching once again. I'll catch you guys in the next battle. But for now, just take it easy.